can we show some examples of unfinished artwork that we abandoned? So this is just kind of, I must have maybe been practicing mountains or something. I just literally went through like my computer and looked on this old hard drive and found a folder that said unfinished art. So I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Why did I abandon this? Because I could have just finished it and it might have been a cool painting. I mean, the mountain doesn't look too bad, and finish out the foreground and add some more stuff to it. It's kind of funny what you start working on, and then all of a sudden something more important comes up, and then you forget all about that one piece. This is, I don't know if you can really see this, it's some sketch. It was going to be like this pig laying on its side like a female sow, and it has a computer for a head, and then there's this guy kind of suckling on it while he's holding his smartphone. It's kind of like I don't know, kind of says something about how dependent people are on technology. That's something I might finish later. Again, I just started to sketch it, and I guess somewhere I forgot about it, and fortunately I put it in a folder. This piece is a little more finished. I totally forgot about this too, because this was supposed to be a painting of the song Jeremy by Pearl Jam, like literally what they're singing about in the song.
Oh yeah.
But then I think I decided maybe it was like too violent or something, so then I didn't finish it. But it's surprising because I'm like, I didn't even remember painting this, and I didn't even remember getting this far. I remember that I started the concept, but I'm like, wow, I got pretty far on this, and then I was like, there's lots of different reasons to abandon a piece. Maybe it's maybe it seemed like a really good idea at the time, and that people would be like, oh, it's a painting from a Pearl Jam song, like you'd see the painting and you'd know that that's what it's supposed to be. But then once you finish it, you realize that it just looks like some psychotic thing of people getting killed, which isn't at all what I was trying to go for. People who know the Pearl Jam song might appreciate it, but that's not at all the message that it conveys. So this piece got abandoned.
That's not any weirder than the video they shot for that song, so I think you're good.
Yeah. So does anybody else
remember? But I couldn't remember the video for that.
It was basically a bunch of kids in a classroom, and I'm pretty sure he shoots all the kids in the video. It was kind of rough, and that was back in like 92, 93, something like that. Yeah, it was a little rough for back then.
Yeah, this is my favourite book. Obviously, I do a lot of book covers. My favourite book is Dare the Triffids. This is actually a sketch I've done for the Dare the Triffids book cover, which I would absolutely love to do.
That's cool. I like the perspective point, the 3-point perspective.
What I ideally want to do, and the reason I haven't finished this piece, is because what I really want to do is I want to get a couple of people to pose this for me, and then I want to shoot this. Just take some reference shots to make sure that I got it nailed down perfectly before I paint it.
So this is just more kind of like your starting point is the idea for it.
Yeah,
I can see that. That would make a really good book cover. Like I can already see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This back at the bottom. This is a dead body. This is the woman's dead father. But I didn't want to show a dead body on the cover, so I just had this kind of silhouetted shape.
It's cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
This Hangout's taken a dark and morbid twist.
I know. But that's the reason it got abandoned, because I haven't found anyone who's, who I can rope in to do this pose for me. But as soon as I do, then I'm gonna finish that up. But it's because I want it to be absolutely perfect.
And do you make like a folder that's called unfinished art, or do you just kind of keep track mentally of the pieces?
Yeah, I have an unfinished projects folder on my desktop. And the next one I'll show you is...
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's cool.
That probably looks pretty finished.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's
so close.
So
yeah, it's not finished, but...
Why is it that you stopped working on it?
Well, I got to the black and white stage, and I was almost happy with it, but I'm not happy with the foreground character.
Uh,
So I
there's
just slapped on a color gradient and walked away from it.
there's probably artists out there being like, man, that looks so finished. Like I could never do anything nearly that good. And you're like, I'm not happy with it.
That might be me, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's really good. I mean, I wouldn't look at that and say that's an unfinished piece, but I mean, that kind of says a lot about artists, you know, like we all have really high expectations for our own work, and sometimes other people don't see they don't see those flaws that we see, and some of us are perfectionists, so just how it goes.
Well, I'm sure you guys have had it as well when you've woken up on a day, sat down, started painting, and then at the end of the day you get up, you know, you shut down your computer, or you're about to shut down your computer, you take a look at the piece of work you've been grafting away on all day, and you suddenly realise this doesn't look that different to when I started on it this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes when I'm drawing a portrait or something like that, you know, I've been frantically working on it really hard, but it just doesn't look too different, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I seem to have made lots of little changes and lots of bits here and there, but at the end of the day, I've done 12 hours work on something, but it still doesn't look too different.
Yeah, I think a lot of the drastic changes that form a piece happen early in the composition, or you know, pre-composition, when you're deciding what you're gonna draw with the sketch, and then everything that you add towards the end is usually kind of fine details, textures, and you know, things like that. Torrin, do you have some pieces you want to share?
Yeah, this is the other thing I gave up on. I started painting it and I started it actually, like I said, in the first Google Hangout I did with all you guys, and that was back in like October, maybe even before then, and I just did not finish it. I don't have a reason why.
You could class that as a finished piece.
See, I it's the same thing that you had with like the demon piece you put up. Like I just see all this stuff that I'm not happy with.
Yeah.
And then I was just done.
But from my point of view, I'd look at that and just go, a lot of people would call that finished. I know you wouldn't, so you wouldn't be happy to put that alongside the rest of your portfolio in the same way that I wouldn't be happy to put that other piece alongside my portfolio. But I look at that and I think, oh, it's finished.
Yeah, that's just like Aaron was saying, you know, it's just everybody's different. I guess it depends upon the artist. Like I just see so many things I need to fix.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I just kind of gave up on it, and I don't know why. I might actually finish it.
The background has an unfinished quality, but you know, is that more about movement and you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the impression I get. I think what's good to mention too is like we have all these pieces that we're not happy with, but we're still keeping them for some reason. But also as an artist who's looking for a way to kind of, you know, get their name out there and get exposure for their work and post things on social media, this is good fuel for that, because as you can see, we've dedicated a portion of this Hangout just to showing off artwork that we wouldn't put in our portfolio or sell, but we're still showing it off and still getting some value out of it by finding another way to repurpose it.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's my unfinished Kevin Durant. I'm sure there's some other stuff. There's a Batman poster that I started back when like the Dark Knight Rises first came out, and I can't find it, but that's another one I gave up on. But God knows where I put that at. It's somewhere on my hard drive on my other computer. But maybe next time I'll find it.
I actually have recently just restarted 2 of my unfinished pieces. That's why I was being very careful when I was in that folder, because I didn't want to show anything off, because they're still in my unfinished projects folders. But 2 of the pieces I actually looked at and thought, they're not that far away from being completed. I might just, you know, carry on with those. So one of them I've just started working on again, and one of them I've actually just changed the major character, but I've left the background the same as it was.
I think that's one of the cool things about working digitally is you can leave something and come back to it, and you don't have to worry about it really changing. A lot of the master painters, traditional painters, would work on stuff for years and years and years. You know, a huge chunk of their career would get spent on just one piece, and that's, of course, because they were really elaborate pieces that took a lot longer to make, but also because, you know, sometimes it takes that long for the artist to finally work out their vision and get it to the point that they're satisfied with. It doesn't mean that if you abandon something, you're never going to finish it. In some cases it does, but in other cases, you know, you might do like Lawrence did and decide in a few years or so that you're going to start it up again and then finally finish it.
Exactly. It's called an unfinished projects folder. It's not abandoned projects.
Yeah. Very true.
And even if you do abandon it, you know, like we've all kept these pieces, and I think that's kind of interesting. You know, other than today, someone might not have seen some of those pieces. They might have been buried forever. So
there have been things that have been moved into those folders and then waited a year or so and then deleted.
Mm-hmm.
So stuff has gone in there, and then I've just looked at it a year or so later and gone, nah, you can't be saved. Bye. Trapdoor.